Hey everyone, it's Bailey. I'm coming to you from my kitchen. Like most of you guys, I'm sure millions of people around the world, I'm pretty much confined to my house, my yard, and I have been for the last several weeks. This is one of the few moments where I have not had my 3 children plus 3 or 4 more from my sister running in and out of the house. So I wanted to take a minute and just offer some encouragement to everyone. As everybody knows, the world is going through some very scary events. We've got this virus that has affected so many millions of people. So many people have lost their lives to that. And then some of the byproducts of the virus, the economy has taken a turn for the worse. I think I read today where over 30 million people, Americans, have lost their jobs, are currently filing for unemployment. But in spite of all those things, we as Christians, as believers, we can still have the peace that comes from God's Spirit. It's this peace that helps us get through these unsettling circumstances. So what exactly is peace? Peace has many different usages. Some people use it as an absence or a prolonged period of time from war. More colloquially speaking, peace is a way of saying goodbye. But the use I want to focus on is freedom from disturbing or frightening situations. So the peace we're dealing with does not mean the absence of frightening situations, because they're going to come. The Bible tells us that it rains on the just and the unjust. We all experience things that are unpleasant that we wish we didn't have to go through. But it's God's peace that helps us get through those times. Now, don't misinterpret what God's peace is. It doesn't mean the absence of unsettling events. It simply means that in the midst of those events, we can be free from the worry and the anxiety that comes along with those events. So where does peace come from? Well, according to Paul in Galatians, peace is positioned as one of the fruits of the Spirit, or a byproduct of having the Spirit of God in your life. He names them as love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Most of us were raised up knowing that from Sunday school. But what does that mean? It means that in the absence of the Spirit of God in your life, you're not going to have the fruits of the Spirit or peace. So if your peace is derived from wealth, from material possession, from status, from your career, you're going to be let down. Okay, those are social constructs, those are things of the world, and they will disappoint you. But the one source of peace that will not disappoint you is that which is derived from the Spirit of God living in your life. So how exactly does the peace of God work? Well, we know it's derived from having the Spirit of God in our lives. And Paul tells us in Philippians that it's this peace that passes all understanding. So if I tried to explain it to you, I would be defying what Paul says, because it surpasses understanding. We can't explain it. We cannot understand it. We just have to embrace it. We live in that. So a lot of people can quote to you the verse in Philippians that God gives us a peace that passes all understanding. But if you read back one verse, in verse 6, it says, because the Lord is at hand, you should not be anxious. You should not worry. That, to me, is what the peace that passes understanding does. It takes a situation that seemingly should cause worry, should cause fear, should cause doubt, but because it just supersedes our way of thinking, for some reason, we do not experience those things. And that is the peace of God. So to build on what Paul says about peace, how we shouldn't be anxious, we can look back at what Jesus says in the book of Matthew. When he's preaching to the people and he's talking to his disciples, he goes on to talk about worrying and how worrying is a futile effort. And he even says, can any person add to their stature by worrying? All right. So there's more evidence from Christ himself that he does not want us to be worried, does not want us to stress about things we cannot control. I read a book recently, a Marine who had served many tours overseas, and he's a renowned guy, accolades, and his advice is always this, and he said this comes from his training. He says, focus on those things which you can control and ignore all others. Right? Now that's a pretty deep thought when you think about it. Right now, there's nothing I can do to control what happens with this virus. I can't control whether I'll have my job when I wake up tomorrow. What I can control is how I respond. I can choose to constantly involve myself in prayer and reading and to focus on the good things in life. I still have my family, right? We still have a place to live. We do get to work. My wife's having to work some ridiculously long hours right now, but at least she has a job. That's how I'm electing to focus my attention. So now I've discussed what peace is, where it comes from. It's up to each and every one of you to make the decision to exercise that peace in your own life. If you choose to look towards your own wisdom, your own coping strategies, self-help books, all these other sources, and they're good things, but if that is the source of your peace, you are going to be let down. The only peace that will not let you down is that which is derived from having the Spirit of God in your life. So I want to leave you with this thought. While the virus has completely upended the lives of so many people, and millions of people have become sick, have lost loved ones, I always try to look for the best in a bad situation. And what I see right now is the opportunity to spend time with my kids, time that I wouldn't normally have had, a time to kind of step back from the speed at which life moves. And so often it just catches us up and we're caught right in that stream. This is an opportunity to just step back, catch our breaths, and kind of recalculate our priorities. It's unfortunate that it takes a global pandemic to get us to this point, but I think there comes a time, or will come a time, where we will look back and remember this as, oh, hey, this was the time when the whole world was able to just stop and take a collective breath. So what I want us to do, or I encourage each and every one of you to do, is to be strong, be positive, and try to leverage the situation you're in. If it means being home with your kids, enjoy that time. If it means being home with just your spouse, enjoy that time. If it means you're able to work more or you have to work more, be glad and be blessed that you're able to do so. Spend time in prayer, spend time reading your Bible, and know that God's peace will get us through any situation. No matter how bad things look around us, we don't have to stress, we don't have to worry. God's got us covered. Take care, everybody.